This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Did the Falcons or the Eagles violate the NFL's tampering policies before signing Kirk Cousins and Saquon Barkley this week? The NFL is now reviewing that. Champ Week, a top 25 matchup in the Big 12 quarterfinals today. Number 25 Texas Tech against 20th ranked BYU.
10 on the shot clock. Approaches, shaking with the shoulders, double teamed, throws it to Williams. Set shot three. Bang! Back to back in your face.
Jeff Haxton on Learfield. The Red Raiders get 22 from Pop Isaacs and beat the Cougars 81-67. Coaching news today. Oklahoma State fires Mike Boynton after 7 seasons. Jerry Stackhouse is out after 5 years at Vanderbilt. Rice fires Coach Scott Pera. The American Gaming Association estimates $2.7 billion could be bet on the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments at U.S.-based sportsbooks. That would be almost double the $1.4 billion wagered on the Super Bowl just a month ago.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. I'll tell you the big winner in free agency that no one is talking about. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And welcome into a Thursday edition of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Grant Lanero and Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. Busy day here on this Thursday and a lot to get to. The Saints have signed a backup quarterback, or at least it'll be a little competition. We'll get to that momentarily. LSU basketball falls in the SEC tournament 70-60 to Mississippi State. Matthew Brune in the next segment to recap that game. The Savannah Bananas are in town at the box, so we're going to talk to Biko Skalla. He's the broadcast entertainment for the Savannah Bananas. We'll talk to him at the bottom of this hour, tell you what you can expect if you are heading out to the box. And then we'll get a preview of Mississippi State baseball this weekend. Robbie Faulk from On 3 covers the Bulldogs. He'll be here to chat that up with us. A change in the starting rotation for Mississippi State. No Nate Dome. Evan Sierri, the official announced starter for Friday night now. So we'll get the scoop from Robbie on what went down there and the reason for the change. But we will start really with kind of the news of the day. And for the third consecutive day, it comes from the NFL. So obviously, earlier in this week, with the legal tampering period, Jameis Winston signs the 1-year deal in Cleveland and takes the backup role there, leaving an open spot in New Orleans. We talked plenty about that throughout the week and what that might mean and what direction the Saints might go in. And no matter if it was me talking to you, if it was somebody we had on the show and asking them, the consensus was the Saints need to go out and get a veteran. They can't just leave Jake Haener as the lone backup quarterback. And for what it's worth, yes, you have Taysom Hill, and the Saints have regularly kept 3 quarterbacks as of late. And the backup quarterback has been a very important role in New Orleans really for the last 5 years or so. I mean, it's been extensive, the usage that a backup quarterback has gotten with the New Orleans Saints. So it was very, very, very important. The other caveat is the list of options dwindled fast, and it wasn't really that plentiful to begin with. But the New Orleans Saints today did, in fact, sign a quarterback. Nathan Peterman is expected to be a member of the New Orleans Saints. He checks a few boxes. He's started games in the league, not at a regular pace. The results haven't been great, but we'll get into that. But it is a guy who has, in this type of scenario, had to go in for injuries. He has experience backing up Derek Carr, spending 2 years in Las Vegas with the Raiders. When he was with the Bears, his most recent stop, he worked with now Saints quarterback coach Andrew Janocko, who was also the quarterback's coach for the Chicago Bears. So you have that tie. So bringing him in makes a lot of sense. Now, what does this actually mean for the Saints? That's another thing, because we mentioned right there the production and the limited action that Peterman has had hasn't been great. I mean, you're looking at 6 years so far in the NFL, 2 with Buffalo, 2 with the Raiders, 2 with Chicago. He was, of course, quarterback at Pittsburgh. Most famous moment in college was the upset over Clemson in one of their national championship seasons. He had a monster day. Was thought to, kind of be in the second wave of quarterbacks in the draft, and ultimately was drafted by the Buffalo Bills in 2017 and started his career then. Again, 2 years in Buffalo, 2 years in Vegas, 2 years in Chicago. He's appeared in 15 games with 5 starts. And maybe the most famous moment for him in the NFL, unfortunately, is the 5-interception game. That's what a lot of people remember him for. So what is his role with the New Orleans Saints? Because we talked about it. That's been a very important spot for them, backup quarterback. And what they've really normally done is you've seen them bring in guys that have had lengthy experience as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Think Teddy Bridgewater. Think Jameis Winston, right? That's not Nathan Peterman. So this is clearly them bringing him in to compete with Jake Haener, which makes a lot of sense. You spent a 4th-round draft pick on Jake Haener. He came here last year out of the draft with a bunch of fanfare and a bunch of, eyes on him. Remember all the Drew Brees comparisons, as ridiculous as that is? And again, it's not any knock on Jake Haener. It's just you're comparing anybody to a Hall of Fame quarterback when they haven't taken a snap in the NFL is ridiculous. But, that was part of it with him. So you obviously have a lot invested in him. And when you look at the two side by side, and again, it's probably not fair to compare the two numbers-wise because, you're looking at a 6-year guy in Peterman who's played in 15 games and started 5, and Jake Haener, who has 1 preseason under his belt. Didn't appear in a game, was inactive on game day most of the time last season for the New Orleans Saints. But I want to do it for this reason only. If you do compare them, you look at Haener in his 1 preseason, he completed 52.7% of his passes for 395 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. If you look at Nathan Peterman through the 15 games, 5 starts that he's gotten, a completion percentage of 53%, 712 yards, 4 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. You can look at that and be like, they're similar. But again, the sample size is not anywhere close. The reason I do that is to tell you why it's important for Jake Haener to win this battle for the New Orleans Saints. Because he has the upside. Let alone everything you've invested in him, which we just went over, but he has the upside. He came in highly touted out of Fresno State, had a great career there, but you look at a guy, but when you compare him like to Nathan Peterman, you can see some similarities there. Sample size smaller, Peterman more known commodity. The upside's kind of gone there, isn't it? It's not for Jake Haener. That has to be the ultimate goal for the Saints. They don't just want to give him the job, which understandable. The experience level isn't there. He's never taken a snap in an NFL game. Do you really want his first snap in an NFL game to potentially be Derek Carr goes down and, you're, division rival in town, or maybe you're on the road and he has to go in there tight game? No, that's not what you want. And albeit in that spot, it might actually have been Taysom Hill that got the role anyway. But you bring in a guy who has experience in the NFL to compete against him and see if he can beat him out. And if he can do that, that's the first step with you feeling comfortable putting him into a football game, potentially in a very tight spot. So it's going to be a veteran league minimum deal for Nathan Peterman. That's great. 1 year, that's fine. And bring him in to really compete and push Jake Haener and see if he can win this job. Because ultimately, that has to be the scenario the Saints are after because of the upside that Jake Haener presents. As opposed to what we know Nathan Peterman is. So, like the signing, again, not maybe what we've seen them do at backup quarterback, but it's because they ultimately want Haener to take the reins. So Saints have their backup. You're looking at a quarterback room now with Derek Carr, Nathan Peterman, Jake Haener, and you'll get Taysom snaps there also, but that'll be mainly in his Taysom Hill role. So, I mean, I don't know. We've seen them do the thing where it's, the backup goes in immediately if in case of an injury, and then you prep Taysom the rest of the week. Those days are gone. So, I mean, you'll get him snaps, but it'll mainly be in his Taysom Hill role. So that part is checked. Another addition for the Saints here in free agency to go along with the Willie Gay signing we talked about last week, and we'll see where they go from here. For what it's worth, we now officially know Nick Underhill with the report earlier today that Chase Young will have his meeting with New Orleans on Friday. So maybe that is the next step. Maybe it is getting Chase Young, and that would certainly feel pretty splashy if they do. A guy who was a number 2 overall pick, a guy who, yes, has suffered some injuries, but coming back, looked pretty healthy this year, both with the Commanders and the 49ers, and equaled some of his stats from his rookie year where he was the defensive rookie of the year in the NFL. So there's definitely plenty of upside left there, and somebody else who would make your defense younger if you can get him. So that's the next thing you're really keeping an eye on. Chase Young will meet with the Saints on Friday. Nick Underhill with that report per sources. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. LSU and Matt McMahon, their run in Nashville at the SEC tournament came to an end. They fell 70-60 to Mississippi State. Got off to a nice start in that ball game, but the second half caused a whole host of problems for the Bayou Bengals. We will talk with Matthew Brune on 3, the Bengal Tiger. When we get back, he will recap that game, tell us what he saw, and what does it mean now for LSU's postseason hopes. The NIT is still floating out there. Could get an automatic bid. Kind of got to hope they do. Did they do enough for an at-large? We'll talk about it all with Matthew Brune next here on a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, welcome back in. Thursday edition of AFR. Musso filling in for Moscona. LSU basketball, they are eliminated from the SEC tournament, falling to Mississippi State 70-60. Matthew Brune on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at _, joins us now. Matthew, appreciate the time. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. Just, covering the game and finishing up my write-ups on it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the game. I feel like it was a game of two halves, so I kind of want to split it into two halves for you and take it one by one there. LSU gets out to the 29-22 lead at the break. They played a great defensive, a very inspired defensive effort there in that first half, really matched Mississippi State's physicality. What worked so well for LSU in the first half against the Bulldogs today?
Yeah, we knew Mississippi State would come out. They're a real physical team, like you mentioned. They beat LSU by 20 in the PMAC just a few weeks ago. Josh Hubbard, the point guard, at 5'10", he's been averaging about 30 a game the last 5 games. And I thought LSU came out and was terrific on him. Trey Hannibal, Mike Williams, and Monty Wilkinson all kind of took their turns, staying attached to him, getting through ball screens, and really giving him fits, not giving him space to get shots off. I think he was 1 of 7 in the first half. He got the free throw line some, but overall you take that. And to hold Mississippi State to 7 of 24 shooting, I believe it was, in the first half, I think just speaks to, LSU being ready to play, Matt McMahon having a good game plan for Mississippi State's weapons. And, I think it really started on the defensive end. And, you kind of, they made some threes. They figured it out on offense, but really it was all about their defense in the first half.
So what did Mississippi State do well to counteract that in the second half offensively? Because, that's when it really looked like Hubbard and Smith were able to take off.
Yeah, you mentioned those two. I think Hubbard especially ended the game 6 of 16. So in the second half, something like 5 of 9 from the field. He's just such a explosive player. And I thought there were some possessions where Mike Williams got caught going under, maybe Trey Hannibal got caught, maybe ball watching, and Hubbard gets free. And honestly, in the first half, I thought Hubbard had some decent looks, but he just wasn't in a rhythm, with credit to LSU. And the second half, he just completely caught that rhythm and was able to extend the lead. And LSU, kind of similar to what we saw in the first game against Mississippi State, their offense in the second half just kind of folded. I believe in the second half they were around 30% shooting. Jordan Wright just really struggled, 2 of 15 from the field, 3 turnovers. Just a really, really tough game for him. I think this is a bad matchup with how physical they are. Not letting him get in the paint, not letting him get to his spots. And without that, it becomes a lot of Trey Hannibal. Hannibal had 22 points last time they played, and he had 18 this time around. And if you're Mississippi State, you kind of live with that. You just anybody but Jordan Wright and Tyrell Ward, and that won the game.
They also really did a nice job lessening the impact of Hunter Dean in the second half as well. I mean, he was a huge key off the bench for LSU there in the first half, especially with the physicality. Was there anything you could pinpoint in the second half that they did better against him to limit him?
Yeah, I think Tolu Smith, you kind of mentioned it, Tolu Smith, who's been a good player in this league for a long time. I think he kind of took that challenge on and ended the game with 13 rebounds. Really did a good job keeping Dean off the glass, because that's where Dean was most impactful in the first half, getting those second chance opportunities, and then also on the roll. Such a good lob threat that they were able to find him in the first half. That Chris Jans is a good defensive coach. They're a really tough team, and with their ability to kind of take the guards out of it, it eliminated Hunter Dean, like the freedom he had in the paint to get to the spots where he likes to roll from. So Mississippi State, I know LSU had a better record than them, 9-9 to 8-10, but Mississippi State's a really tough matchup for LSU. I'd argue, they're one of the toughest for LSU to face in this tournament setting.
I was going to ask you if you were surprised by the outcome today. You might have kind of just answered it, but I'll ask you anyway. Were you surprised by the outcome today?
No, partially because, like I said, the matchup, but also Mississippi State was clearly playing for this to get into the NCAA tournament. Now, they could have still made it if they had lost the game, but I think if you're Chris Jans, you're the head coach, and he kind of said it a little bit, but they knew what was at stake. They knew they had to win this game if they wanted to make the NCAA tournament, and I think now that they've won this game, I think they're in it pretty comfortably. So you have a veteran team on that side of the ball. Both teams know, what was at stake here, and LSU is just trying to play spoiler, and Mississippi State, I think, ultimately was able to kind of wear them down and get the win.
Talking with Matthew Brune on 3 Sports. The Bengal Tiger covers LSU. He's on Twitter at _Brune_. I'll give him a follow if you haven't already. So you mentioned Mississippi State and what they were playing for. LSU obviously has eyes on the NITs. That's where I kind of want to take this now. Where do they go from here? I guess many thought if they won this game, they could secure an at-large. They didn't. Are they still in good enough shape to maybe get that at-large, or do they need some help on that NCAA tournament bubble to secure an automatic bid?
Yeah, it's a complicated thing. I'm actually just finished writing up a story on it, but it's essentially, it would be great to have some help. Texas A&M is one on the bubble now that if A&M makes it, I think LSU can get an automatic bid with the next 2 teams in the net from the SEC will get automatic bids to the NIT. So that at this moment would be Ole Miss and LSU. So if A&M makes the NCAA tournament, then I think LSU is going to get automatic bid. I don't think Georgia, unless Georgia wins tonight, I don't think Georgia will pass them, and I don't think Arkansas will pass them, barring a run from one of those teams. That would be an automatic bid. If, A&M doesn't make it or they get passed by one of those teams, I think they have a pretty good shot at making it still, but it's definitely not a comfortable situation where I would feel, I would have felt really good if they had beaten Mississippi State.
When you look at this team and the program, how would you view the NIT for them? I mean, I think everyone overwhelmingly looks at it and says, man, it would be a great accomplishment, but retention is going to be such a big thing for Matt McMahon after this year. I mean, would it really serve them that well to play another game together, or is it just more about advancing the program?
It's more about advancing the program to me. I think this, if you can get a couple of wins, you want to stay in the, LSU has so many great sports, obviously, and for the men's basketball program being in a rebuilding spot, you want to be as prominent as you can, I think, for as long as you can. And I'm not saying the NIT is obviously hugely impactful, but it would, if you can get a win or 2 wins in the NIT, I think that would be a great way to kind of end the year, as opposed to losing to Mississippi State and kind of having it remembered that way. I think the NIT, because they'll be playing a very good team, whether it's, just looking through the field, if they played a team like Oregon or they played Utah or Kansas State or something like that. I mean, it would be a tough game for them, and if they were able to win, I think it'd be still a good stepping stone for this program to extend its season, get some wins, and you still have buy-in, I think, from a lot of these seniors that are looking to extend their career.
Last one for you, Matthew. Your time very much appreciated. let's assume they get into the NIT. Are they looking at a road game, or is there still a chance for them to host, maybe with the automatic bid?
Yeah, the automatic bids will host. So that would be, again, if A&M makes the NCAA tournament, then I believe LSU should be able to get an automatic bid, barring Arkansas or Georgia winning their games or winning a couple games in the SEC tournament to pass them potentially in the net. So, yeah, if A&M makes the NCAA tournament, I think LSU will host. And like I said, it'll be a good game. It won't be a bad game. It could be Syracuse. It could be SMU, Loyola Chicago, Virginia Tech, any of those type of teams. So, I think that's still in the realm of possibility.
Some revenge against Syracuse sounds nice from the early season matchup. I think you could. I think you could get some butts in the seats in the PMAC for that one, for sure. Matthew Brune on 3 Sports, the Bengal Tiger covering LSU. We appreciate the time as always, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and give him a follow there on Twitter at Matthew Brune _ does a great job covering LSU basketball. Disappointing, obviously, to see the run in the tournament the SEC tournament, I should say, so soon. And they played really, really well in the first half, and they just came out in the second half, man. It just wasn't. They made a run, got it back to 1 point, 53-52, I believe, there around the 5.5, 6 minute mark or so. And after that, it just became really, really tough for them to get stops. Josh Hubbard just really took the ball game over, and you knew going in it was going to be tough to totally contain him. He was going to get his, and ultimately he ends up with 24 points, and you couldn't do it. So the run ends there, but hopefully there is at least one more game for them in the NIT. It would be a great step for this program, and one that this team is definitely deserving of after the progress that they've made, definitely from the start back in November all the way to now. They've really grown a lot. So hopefully they can get in there with the automatic bid and host, and if not, an at-large bid. All right, we're going to talk some banana ball here in the next segment, but first, we'll give you a reminder about Shawbills.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
All right, getting set here to move along. Again, the Savannah Bananas, they are in town for 3 games right now. It gets underway tonight. They'll be at the box on Friday as well, and on Saturday. Paulie's going to be there Saturday. Paul, are you excited?
I am, actually. It's going to be a pretty good night.
I'm kind of jealous that you got tickets, but, I mean, yeah, because I wanted to go.
Yeah, basically everyone I know who entered the lottery did not get it, and somehow my brother won the lottery.
Yeah, well, at least
I was one of the lucky invitees.
I was about to say, at least you got invited. That's the important part. We'll get you some more information if you are heading out to Alec Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field over the next 3 days to see the Savannah Bananas. What you might expect from not your ordinary baseball team. We'll just say that Biko Skalla is going to join us next. He is the broadcast entertainer for the Bananas. He joins us to fill us in next year on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries. Make sure you check them out online, on Facebook or on LinkedIn. It's Action Industries. And, of course, when you're at the box. Every single game, all year long, out at the box. If you see a mound visit, those mound visits all season long are brought to you by Action Industries. Action Industries is a great industrial contractor that served the petrochemical and refinery markets, all the plants up and down the river for 40 years, since 1982, going on 41 years now in business. And listen, there's 2 things that I've learned talking to Chuck and all the gang over there at Action Industries. Number 1, you do not get hired to work in those plants if you don't have an exemplary safety record. At Action Industries, their safety record beats the industry standard, and you don't get rehired if you don't do quality work. Well, Action Industries has been around for 40 years. Check them out online. It's Action Industries.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, so the LSU Tigers, they're going to be in Starkville, Mississippi this weekend for a 3-game set to open up SEC play. But the lights will be on and the stands will be packed at Alex Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field. Nonetheless, that's because the Savannah Bananas are in town for 3 games against the Party Animals. And it is not your normal baseball experience, but it is a very popular one nonetheless. The broadcast entertainer for the Bananas is Biko Skalla. He joins us now on Twitter at Biko Rico Suave, which is just a fantastic Twitter handle. Biko, how are we doing, man?
Oh, my gosh. Couldn't be better. Fired up to be here in Baton Rouge.
Absolutely. So, I actually want to start with the Twitter handle. I mean, is there a story behind that, or did you just kind of come up with it one day?
Oh, my gosh. That's like 6th grade Biko right there. An early baseball nickname and an early social media handle that stood the test of time.
I love to hear that. That is fantastic. So the Bananas are going to be in town, like we said, three games here, Thursday through Saturday at the Box. So no LSU baseball at the Box, but banana ball at the Box. Biko, I know there's going to be, it's sold out all 3 days already here, but just first, before we get into what to expect, I'd love to know your role as broadcast entertainer. It sounds pretty all-encompassing. So can you let the people know really what it is that you do with the team?
Yeah, that's a classic Bananas title right there. I'm the play-by-play guy for the Bananas. I joined in 2020, and I've been lucky enough to broadcast all 126 Banana Ball games that have ever been played. So, it's pretty typical play-by-play, a lot of stats and keeping the people updated on everything I feel like they need to know throughout a ball game, but with a sprinkle of fan-first entertainment madness of, I'm a pinch of a caricature of myself on the air and am trying to entertain just about as much as I'm trying to inform.
So how, because obviously it's Banana Ball, right? What are the key differences here that you got? I mean, you got a whole list of rules. You can find them on the website, but the key differences between Banana Ball and the typical baseball that fans are accustomed to seeing.
If I only had one word, it is speed. So it's baseball, but 11 additional rules. We put a 2-hour timer on baseball. And so far this year, one game got canceled due to Mother Nature after 6 innings, so it killed after Party Animals' victory. But besides that, in the other 12 games, we have played 9 innings within the 2-hour time limit. So batters can't step out of the box. That really helps with speed. There's no mound visits. And pitchers really have batters prisoners unless they foul a ball off. So there's a lot of quick pitching. MPI, minutes per inning, is one of our big stats. It's how quick can pitchers get 3 outs. That's something we really like to focus on, and actually had the quickest half inning of all time in Houston last week, 55 seconds. That dethroned DJ the Invader, who had a 57-second inning last year. But it's all about speed, and then surrounding the game of Banana Ball is an absurd amount of entertainment. It's like a circus and a baseball game all combined into one.
How many pitches were thrown in a 55-second inning?
6 pitches. You can fact check me on that, but it was 6 pitches. 1 pitch out, 4 pitch out, and then 1 pitch out, and a couple trick plays mixed in there as well, which is another thing that we hype up a lot in Banana Ball.
Well, I was going to get to that too. I mean, I think everybody's seen the video, the flaming bat, and getting hit with the flame bat, or players on stilts or things like that. I mean, what is something that the fans can expect from the circus aspect that you just talked about that they will see over the next 3 days?
Yeah, you mentioned Dakota Stilts Albritton. He gets in every single Banana Ball game somehow. So all 3 nights here in Alec Bach, we will see Stilts. I'm sure he'll hit one night, pitch one night, and probably hold down first base at some point. And now this is like a pinch hit opportunity coming in for 1 out of relief and probably 1 out of defense, because as you can imagine, on 5-foot Stilts, he's a little bit of a detriment to the Bananas when it comes to the competitive side of Banana Ball, which is a huge factor here. And then Alex Ziegler, you mentioned with the flaming bat, I'm sure he gets into one of these 2 or one of these 3 games, possibly a couple of them. He'll be doing all kinds of bat tricks. I mean, he's got nearly 1 million followers on social media, 4 Guinness Book records for balancing stuff on his face. And he's just an absolute delight. Plus, he's got some Fortnite emotes. So it's a lot of former minor league and independent professional guys. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a couple circus acts to show off too. So
I was going to ask you that, how they go about building out the roster. I mean, is there a Banana Ball draft?
There is not a Banana Ball draft yet. We plan on probably having a Banana Ball league at some point in the near future, and a draft, I think, might have to happen, but don't hold me to that. Our draft these days is how we present our schedule every year. So it's a quote-unquote draft, although we know every city that we're about to announce, so it's not a true draft. Anyway, I digress. The players, a lot of them came from the Savannah Bananas collegiate team, which was 2016 through 2022. So we've got a couple guys on the Bananas who are in their 7th season in the yellow. 4 of them collegiate. This is their 3rd year as professional Banana Ballers. There's some guys. One guy even was a 2017 Banana and then ended up in minor league ball for about half a decade and has come back to us. But it's a lot of former minor leaguers, a lot of indie guys. And Barry Aldridge, our director of baseball ops, slides into a couple thousand DMs every prep season of the best indie ball guys we see around the world, and we try and poach them.
Talking with Biko Skalla, the broadcast entertainer for the Savannah Bananas. The Bananas are in town for 3 games at the box against the Party Animals this weekend while LSU's over. Hopefully taking care of business in Starkville. He's on Twitter at Biko Rico Suave, Biko, Biko. Biko, I want to ask a couple more about banana ball because there's a few rules that I enjoy an awful lot that I'd love your take on. Number one is the foul ball rule, where the fan, if the fan catches a foul ball, the batter is out. I mean, that's something I think that should just maybe be actually adopted in the game of baseball.
Yeah.
And then there's the golden batter. Tell us about the golden batter.
Sure. So, first of all, big retweet on the foul balls being caught by fans are out.
Yes.
That's my favorite of the 11 rules. And then the golden batter rule is our 11th and newest rule we have added to banana ball. So we added one more rule from last year to this tour, and you can bat one man one time at any point in the lineup. So you could throw your leadoff hitter in, we bat 10 in banana ball. You could throw your leadoff hitter in the 8, 9, or 10 spot. We've even seen once this year, they put the leadoff hitter in the 10 hole to lead off the 9th, and then he hit immediately again because the order, of course, flipped over. So it's basically a way to manufacture the best hitter against the best pitcher at the biggest point in the game, a la Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in last year's, baseball classic.
That's good strategy, doing it in the 10 hole there. I like that. So with excuse me. I know, like I said earlier, I have some people kind of in a YouTube chat asking about tickets. I know it's sold out. Is there a way for fans to watch? Is there a stream of what's going to happen this weekend?
There is. We stream every single banana ball game for free on the Savannah Bananas YouTube page. So you just go to YouTube, look up Savannah Bananas, and you'll see us streaming. We'll be live around 6:30 p.m. Central tonight. Awesome.
And then here, one thing. I know you're not going to spoil anything. I'm not asking you to, but I mean, y'all were just at Minute Maid Park and sold that place out. And, I mean, there were some pretty famous former Astros and just former Major League Baseball players like Roger Clemens and Roy Oswalt and guys like that making appearances. Again, I'm not going to ask you to spoil anything, but do we have surprise guests coming this weekend at the box?
Yeah, that's a big old no comment from Biko here.
Okay.
Jesse Cole, our fearless leader, the man in the yellow tux, loves to keep us in the dark, honestly, on a lot of these. He didn't even tell Josh and myself, my broadcast partner, about Oswalt and Clemens until the day of the game last Saturday. So I might be in the dark as long as the fans are. You just got to be ready on your toes as a broadcaster and figure out some prep in the moment when someone surprises us.
Yeah, what's that like? I mean, you're just out there calling the game, and all of a sudden the Rocket takes to the mound.
Yeah, normally, I've got a few hours warning that something like that is going to happen. But it's mind-boggling. I mean, I grew up a diehard Yankees fan, so Roger Clemens was pretty special to me. And, these guys grew up idolizing a lot of the former Major League Baseball players that we have play banana ball. So it's pretty special. I mean, Jason Swan hit about a 450-foot moonshot 2-run homer off Clemens in Minute Maid Park last Saturday. And it's like, where else can you get that where a banana baller just demolishes 61-year-old Roger Clemens splitter that got a little too much of the plate?
Last one for you here, Biko. Are we looking at three Bananas wins? Are we looking at a sweep this weekend, or are the Party Animals going to put up the fight?
It's very competitive. The Party Animals actually won last year's tour by one game. The two teams played 69 times, and somehow in Cooperstown, New York, right down the street from the Baseball Hall of Fame, it came down to the final battle. But this year, Party Animals started red hot, swept Tampa out the gate, and the Bananas have won every series since. They really picked up some momentum. They are 8-5 right now, and like I said, have not lost a series since early February. So I'm sure Vegas, if they were involved, they would have the Bananas as slight favorites right now for the series. But the Party Animals are due. They're a professional squad, and if I was a betting man, I would say Party Animals take 2 out of 3 here in Louisiana.
Oh, all right. Calling for the upset then. A little minor upset then. Biko Skalla is our guest. Biko, we appreciate the time. Look, y'all, if y'all are going out to the box to watch the Bananas and the Party Animals, it sounds like it's going to be a really awesome experience. Enjoy that. And if not, tune into the Bananas YouTube channel, the Savannah Bananas YouTube channel. You can watch the games streaming there. They're here Thursday through Saturday. Biko, we appreciate the time as always, man. Enjoy the experience down here. Have a great call, and thank you as always.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. We're fired up for this. These are our first ever Banana Ball games on a college campus, so it's special to do it here in the capital of Louisiana. It's going to be good stuff.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
See you later.
Absolutely. That is Biko Skalla, the broadcast entertainer for the Savannah Bananas. That is going to be, I mean, y'all, we're talking about Alec Box Stadium here. One of the most, if not the most, historic venues in college baseball. I mean, obviously you had the old box, now the new box, but just as a whole, the history that has happened at this ballpark, the wild moments, the wild nights, the wild games, the wild atmospheres that have happened at this ballpark, this is going to be on that list. Like, it's going to be insane out there for 3 days with the Bananas in town. So if you're lucky enough to have gotten the tickets in the lottery, you're going to really enjoy yourself. We said, at the end of last segment, Paul's going on Saturday. So, I mean, and if not, I recommend definitely firing up the YouTube stream for them and seeing what it's all about, and you'll hear Biko on the call. So it certainly is not. And Paul and I were talking the other day about guests that they could bring out from Louisiana. And, I mean, there's a pretty good baseball history here that doesn't always have to involve LSU. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people, the first name that's going to come to mind is Ben McDonald, but Ben might be doing something in spring training right now. Ben might be, I don't really know where Ben is, to be honest with you, but that'd be awesome. Here we go in the chat. Will Clark. I mean, that'd be great. I don't really want to give too much good juju for Mississippi State this weekend, but yeah, that'd be awesome. Will Clark. Paul, I know I said I settled myself on Ricky Weeks. Like, if we could get Ricky Weeks out there, that would be epic.
That'd be a good one.
We
were even thinking like non-baseball, like Shaq or somebody. Just
Shaq?
Any big Louisiana name, period.
That would be awesome. Brent Semino. No, Brent Semino, I'm not going. I did not win the lottery, nor did I get invited. So I would have had to go tonight, though, because I'll be tied up with LSU and Mississippi State, obviously, the rest of the day. So the Bananas are in town. That looks like it's going to be awesome. So y'all go support, whether you're going or, again, on the YouTube channel. It looks like it's going to be a pretty epic experience. All right, we're going to grab a break, and thanks to Biko Skalla on Twitter, again, at Biko Rico Suave, which is an incredibly plus Twitter handle. I forgot to ask him Taylor's dessert question. Oh, Taylor's going to be mad. So Taylor Sharp, obviously OTB producer, he's going tonight, and he wanted me to ask a question if there was going to be banana-themed desserts, and I forgot. Sorry, Taylor. All right, we're going to grab a break. The NFL, more proposed rule changes. We'll close out hour number 1 with that. But first, a reminder from First South Farm Credit.
We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, go to firstsouthland.com. They're the best. First South Farm Credit. They've been in business since 1916. You've heard our buddy Ben McDonald talk about his experience. Ben's got some hunting property in Mississippi. Finance that land through First South Farm Credit. It doesn't matter if you live in Houma and you want to buy land in Mississippi, or if you live in Baton Rouge and you want to buy land in Zachary, if you live in Monroe and you want to buy land in Alexandria, or wherever it may be, in Louisiana or any of the 48 contiguous states, First South Farm Credit can help you buy land. That recreational property, maybe your hunting property, if it's the property to build your dream home, or if it's 1,000 acres for agriculture, First South Farm Credit should be your first call. Go to the website at firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. One more time, firstsouthland.com.
All right, we'll be back after this. We'll wrap up with some proposed rule changes with the NFL. One of them is another possible addition from the XFL. We'll tell you about that next to close out hour 1.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001-752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic, or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house, and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. and we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at reliefwindows.com.
All right, we only have a couple minutes here to wrap up hour number one, but I wanted to at least touch on this and put it on your radar. I mean, it's not an immediate change. It's not even an actual change yet. It's just a proposed rule change in the NFL. So a few weeks ago, we told you that the league owners and the competition committee were looking at the XFL's kickoff rule in hopes of adopting that to increase the frequency of kickoff returns in the NFL. Well, now you have the club, the teams and the clubs, the franchises able to propose rule changes now. And Philadelphia proposed a change that would amend Rule 6, Section 1, Article 1. That is the onside kick rule. And they are basically proposing the XFL's onside kick model where, the scoring team, you're going to go for the onside kick or whatnot, but you can substitute it for one offensive play, 4th down and 20 from the kicking team's 20-yard line instead of the onside kick. You can have the choice. Do you want to do the onside kick or the 4th and 20? I think that'd be really good. It's definitely more entertaining. It increases your opportunity. I mean, the onside kick recovery rate in the NFL is like almost zero. It's such a low percentage play. I think this would add a lot more intrigue to the end of games. 4th and 20 is still plenty distance. That's still a very difficult, distance to cover, a very difficult play to achieve and succeed at. So I actually hope they take that into serious consideration and we can move forward with that. And again, you keep the choice. Maybe you want to kick the onside kick. Okay, sure, fine, do that. Or go for the 4th and 20. We'll see what happens. But that rule change has been proposed by Philadelphia. That's going to wrap up hour number 1 here of AFR. We'll come back, recap LSU's sweep of North Dakota State next on AFR.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I'm Doug Brown. The Eagles and Falcons make a big splash in free agency this week, but now the NFL is checking to see if either team violated the league's tampering policies. Teams were not allowed to speak directly to free agents until yesterday at 4 Eastern. The Lions agreed to multi-year extensions for head coach Dan Campbell and GM Brad Holmes. Their deals will now run through the 2027 season. The Lions are coming off their first division title in 30 years, advancing to the NFC Championship game. At the Big East quarterfinals today, Madison Square Garden.
Here's Spencer looking to get it in. He does along the right sideline of Newton. Newton into the ankles. Alley-oop to Samson Johnson. Oh, he rips it down, and UConn leads 52-42.
Mike Crispino on Learfield. Second-ranked UConn blows open a tight game in the second half for an 87-60 win over Xavier. Nets guard Ben Simmons had back surgery today for the second time in 3 years. He's expected to make a full recovery for next season. He's played only 57 games the last 3 years.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. I'll tell you the big winner in free agency that no one is talking about. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour number 2, after further review on a Thursday, off and running. Musso in for Moscona. Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride. Glad you are as well. 1 hour in the books, 2 more to go. We're going to get into some baseball, some LSU baseball, I should say, here in a few moments. Stuff to go around the SEC. We will do that. Moved it because we had Biko Skalla from the Savannah Bananas with us in hour number 1 in the normal spot. So we'll do that as well. Robbie Faulk, still to come from On 3 Sports, covers Mississippi State. He will give us a preview of the weekend, a change in Mississippi State's starting rotation. And on Friday night, Nate Dome, we'd heard about some potential arm issues there for Dome, and he will not pitch Friday. Evan Sierra is going to get the start. So we'll get the latest on that situation and where things stand with the Bulldogs from Robbie Faulk at 5:15. I have a mock draft to go through, and as I said, plenty of LSU baseball. So glad you're here with me as we get set to start hour number 2 on this Thursday. It's been a great week so far, filling in for Matt, and I've appreciated all the interaction and all the fun. It's been a fun two and a half days so far. So let's keep it going. All right, LSU, they defeat North Dakota State 7-0. I called them Northwestern State for the better part of this week. Whether it was on Musso at the box, whether it was here filling in for Matt, it was just real difficult for me. But LSU defeats North Dakota State 7-0. It's LSU's third shutout of the year. We were opposite that game. Kind of kept you updated throughout yesterday's show, but now I can kind of go back and give you a full recap. So 7-0 win, third shutout. LSU completes the pre-conference slate 16-2 on the year, and now they head to Starkville. But before we get there, let's look back. So, because there is a few things that I want to touch on from that game yesterday. There's a few things that I liked, a few things that I liked for the immediacy for LSU, a few things that I liked for the future for LSU. That's the future in this season and obviously down the line in the program that I definitely want to touch on. And there's some stuff that it's like, okay, well, we you need to see a little bit more from there. You're hoping for maybe a little bit better result. Heading into conference play. And then I should also mention later in the show, we will take a full look at LSU as where they stand heading into conference play. That'll be at 5 o'clock right before the interview with Robbie Faulk. So where LSU stands, and then we'll get the preview of Mississippi State. But once again, to the North Dakota State game. Griffin Herring got the start for LSU. Really liked that decision. You knew he wasn't going to go deep. It was going to be a situation very similar to what you saw with Cade Anderson, because you obviously want Griffin Herring to pitch for you on the weekend. And it was really almost an identical outing to what you got from Cade Anderson. Herring goes an inning and 2/3, throws 37 pitches, shutout ball, and then he's lifted. I thought he looked really sharp. Of those 37 pitches, 28 were strikes, had a couple punch outs. I thought it was important for him to build off of the great outing he had against Xavier, to build on that going forward, because his outing in Houston got a little hairy on him. He made some really good pitches. They got hit. And he ultimately gives up the 3 earned runs, and it was shaky. But he has now put together back-to-back really solid outings for LSU. So that's a strong selling point for me going forward with the bullpen. Not that there's really been a concern with LSU's pitching so far on the year, but that's one of your veteran guys who pitched in big spots for you as a freshman last year and really grew up in a year that LSU won the national championship, and now looks to be hitting his stride, hopefully here right before conference play. So that's a big positive there for LSU. Lineup-wise for the Tigers, the thing about yesterday's game, it was just sleepy. It was a sleepy ball game, as kind of to be expected. Late afternoon start, your final pre-conference game before you start the SEC slate, is sleepy. North Dakota State, one thing we hit on them with in our previews, walks were a big problem for them, and you saw that firsthand in the first inning yesterday. Tommy White with a 1-out double to left center, and then the controls problem started for Matt Sargent, the Bison starter. Walks Neal, walks Jones, both of those on 5 pitches. Travinsky hits a ground ball to third with the bases loaded. It's fielded cleanly but thrown into right field, so you have an error, a fielder's choice, a run scores. After Pearson strikes out, Braswell's hit by a pitch with the bases loaded, scores another run. Kling walks with the bases loaded, scores another run. So you really see those control problems. LSU's got a 3 spot on the board without the benefit of a hit. Fine with me. You'll take the runs however you can get them. The run column is the only column that matters. I don't care if it's a hit. I don't care if it's a walk. I don't care. You get the runs, sack fly, manufacture if you have to right now, while you're still finding your footing offensively, and LSU did a great job at that. After that, it was kind of a little bit of a lull for the Tigers. Offensively, they would pick it back up in the 5th with a 2 spot there to make it a 5-0 ball game. A leadoff walk to Brady Neal, followed by a Jones double, scored him, and then Pearson would score Ben DePolt, who came in to pinch run for Jones on a sacrifice fly. So again, clutch hit from Jones, manufacturer run there. LSU's up 5-0. Then Mac Bingham adds a 2-run homer in the 6th. That's how LSU got to their final margin, 7-0. When you look at it from an offensive performance, 7 runs on 8 hits. You did leave 8 guys on base, so you had plenty of opportunity, but 7 runs is going to be enough for LSU most of the time to win games with the pitching staff that they have. Something else that really stood out with the pitching staff, for me at least, was Christian Little. So Little comes in the 2nd inning to relieve Herring, and there is a runner advances a second on a steal, and credit Christian Little, it did not bother him whatsoever. He strikes out the Bison hitter on 3 straight pitches, was just real dominant stuff. And then I thought Little settled in quite nicely for LSU. I mean, you look up at the scorebook for him after it's 2 1/3 shutout with 4 strikeouts and only 39 pitches. He was very efficient. He pounded the strike zone, which is something you obviously want to see from Christian Little. And this is something I know we talked about in the middle of the game yesterday, but maybe you weren't here, maybe you were watching the game, so I'll go ahead and reiterate it. And it's something I've talked about plenty on Musso at the Box when looking at Christian Little, is there is a blueprint for him already in college to be successful. We've seen it. It was his sophomore year at Vanderbilt. He threw a very similar inning load, mostly out of the bullpen, that he did last year at LSU. The big difference was the 29 walks last year at LSU to the 17 his sophomore year at Vanderbilt. And when he had those 17 walks, again, in a similar inning load, he had an ERA of 3.7. The stuff with Christian Little's never the question. It is elite. 4 pitches that he can throw for strikes, and the fastball can get up to 96. That part's elite. He just has to stay in the zone and command it. And when he does that, he's really hard to hit. He's done that so far this season, and you're seeing an ERA at 3.68. He keeps up on that track. You're going to like the way things go with Christian Little, and he's going to be a really important part of your team if he goes forward on the track that he is. And that's important because you're really left-handed heavy. And I don't think it's a problem for LSU. Clearly, it's not a problem for LSU. They've been dominant on the mound so far as a squad. But the more right-handed options you can get, the more different looks you can give to an opposing lineup, that's only going to help you. So Christian Little's emergence or progress is going to continue to need to continue on the pace that he's at. An overview, an overall thought on the offense, because I know that's been kind of what most fans have looked at as the struggle for this team, and that's fair. I mean, that has been where LSU has, quote-unquote, struggled right now. It's just it hasn't been the 1 through 9 onslaught that you've been used to really the last 2 seasons, and we knew it wouldn't be coming in. It was going to take time. You have plenty of talent. You just had to get some of those guys a little bit more experience, and you're trying to develop the consistency. What I did like yesterday was for the second day in a row against North Dakota State, you had production throughout the lineup, both with hits and both with RBI in constant pressure, whether take a guy like Brady Neal. I mean, Mac Bingham and Tommy White had 3 hits combined at the top of your order. Brady Neal's sitting in the 3-hole there. He goes 0 for 2, but he walked twice and scored twice. That's still constant pressure right there, even though he's not impacting the game with a single. So I like that an awful lot. You had a hit and an RBI out of your 4-hole from Jones. You had a hit and an RBI out of your out of your 5-hole from Travinsky, a hit and an RBI out of your 6-hole from Pearson, an RBI from your 7-hole in Braswell, and then an RBI from your 8-hole in Kling. I like that an awful lot to go along with 2. That's 2 RBI out of your leadoff hitter, and then an RBI each from 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in the lineup. That's really good. Now, again, not all of them come from a hit, like Pearson had a sac fly, but that's constant pressure. That's good stuff. Kling works a bases loaded walk. That's ultimately you want that, especially at the bottom of your order. So those are really the 2 positives that I see from the offense yesterday. Would you love LSU to go out there and pound out 10 runs on 15 hits every game? Absolutely, and so would I. And you know what? I'll let you in on a little secret. So would Jay Johnson. They're just not there yet, but that coming off the weekend you had against Xavier where you really struggled offensively Friday night and then again on Sunday, to have 2 games in a row where you have production throughout the lineup, that's big. So I like that as well. That's kind of my overview takeaway. We'll get more into where they stand offensively and what you need to see at the top of the next hour when we talk about where they stand going into SEC play. But, in the macro of that 2-game series, I thought it was a really good 2 games for LSU offensively and something that they can build on going forward. The last thing I will say about this game is the 2 pitchers that I wanted to talk about who I thought really showed out for the future of LSU, not just potentially later this year, but further down the line in the program. And that was Cam Johnson and Aiden Moffitt. Cam Johnson, we all know about him, right? I mean, he comes here with all the talent in the world, all the hype in the world, the highest ranked prospect to ever make it to campus. And they've had the luxury, because the staff is so deep and talented, to bring him along slowly. Like, y'all, that is a luxury for LSU to be able to bring that kid along. And you saw his most complete outing of the season so far yesterday, the young outing. You got to see him go 2/3 of an innings. The fastball velocity was as consistent as it has been, really being a lot of 95, 94, 95, maybe a 96 in there. He punched out a guy, recorded another out. I believe it was a fly out. Did have a walk sandwiched in between, but it didn't bother him. He pitched around it fine. That's growth, because the walks obviously bothered him in his first outing, which why wouldn't they? I mean, you come in with all the hype, all the talent. You want to go out there and show out, and you get a little flustered. That was big to see him kind of settle down a little bit yesterday, and they're going to continue to bring him along slowly, but that's a great step in the right direction for him, not only potentially later in this season, but definitely down the road for him. And the same thing for Aiden Moffitt, y'all. Aiden Moffitt was up to 99 miles per hour multiple times yesterday. It's a big arm from the right side. The control got away from him a little bit in the 9th inning, the command a little bit in the 9th inning, but that's just what he needs to continue to work on. He looks like he's getting close, though. If he gets the command of that fastball down a little bit better, finds a little bit more consistent feel for the slider, which just has absolute wipeout potential, that guy's going to be a weapon for you. But to see him be able to extend a little bit yesterday, an inning and 2/3, 34 pitches, that only bodes well for LSU going forward in 2024 and obviously down the road for a guy like Aiden Moffitt. Aiden Moffitt had their magic moment yesterday. And I mean, the way Jay said it was turning the corner. And you love to hear that. I'll take as many arms as you can give me on this staff right now, because they all do something incredibly well. And Aiden Moffitt could be a real weapon for LSU down the line. So just file that away. I think you'll see more, obviously, of Johnson and Moffitt in the midweek as they continue to refine. But don't be surprised. You look up in May, and those guys are contributing for LSU. And I think that's obviously best case scenario, too, because then you just have them rolling over with a lot of experience going into 2025, which would be fantastic. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Field Yates released a mini mock draft here after free agency gets underway and the moves we saw in the legal tampering period. We'll talk about what he had for the Saints, give you a little update on the LSU guys as well, because there was kind of one change a little bit there. So we'll do that, and of course we'll continue talking LSU baseball throughout the rest of the show. So stick around. It's Thursday's AFR right here. Don't you move.
AFR.
Love telling you about Rouse's. Rouse's is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, and of course, with it being Lent, a lot of people are looking for seafood options on Fridays and Lent. I got great news for you. They just had a price drop on crawfish by a full $2 a pound. So the crawfish aren't $2 a pound, but they dropped by $2 a pound. Live crawfish over at Rouse's, $5.99, and boiled if you're getting more than 10 pounds, $7.29 a pound. If you're getting them fewer than 10 pounds, it's $7.49 a pound over at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints is Rouse's. You can go to rouses.com, rouses.com. You can follow them on all their social media. Remember, if it is the boiled crawfish, if it's catfish fillets, if it's boiled shrimp, they have grab-and-go options at their hot and boiled kiosk at Rouse's. Just walk in, go to the left, you'll see the seafood department and the hot and boiled kiosks over at Rouse's. Rouses.com, Rouse's. This feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
Back here on a Thursday edition of AFR, a little bit of breaking news that does have implications for the Saints and the NFC South, actually. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN reporting via a source that pass rusher, former Vikings pass rusher, DJ Wonnum plans to sign with the Panthers on a 2-year deal. He had 8 sacks in 15 games last year for Minnesota. So, I mean, obviously, look, you got a pretty good pass rusher going to a division rival in Carolina. But the much more significant portion of that is the Panthers met with Chase Young yesterday and have elected not to sign him or could not reach a deal with him. And as we talked about earlier in the first hour, Chase Young is set to meet with the Saints tomorrow on Friday. And look, by all accounts, the Saints certainly seem to be a legitimate threat to sign Chase Young. And that could be really the splashiest signing they can make here in free agency. And it would fill a nice position of need for the Saints. It would make you younger on the defensive side of the ball. Even if it's not in a starting role, it would still make you younger. And you have somebody who can spell Cam Jordan. You have somebody who can spell Carl Granderson in that spot, as well. So that's something to certainly keep an eye on. Chase Young will be in New Orleans meeting with the Saints on Friday and met with the Panthers yesterday. And the Panthers have gone a different direction, according to Jeremy Fowler, signing DJ Wonnum to a 2-year deal. So he will be a member of the Panthers, not Chase Young. File that away, and we will absolutely keep you updated there. Field Yates released a mini mock draft, 15 picks, so a little less than half of the first round. This is after, really kind of the legal tampering after the first round free agency here in the NFL. And it was interesting the way he went through it. So for each team, he took, a look at them and said, okay, the free agency move that matters. And then went through them, told you why they mattered, and then gave you his projected pick at that spot. So like, for example, just take the Los Angeles Chargers. The free agency move that matters, keeping receiver Keenan Allen. Goes through why that's great or whatever. Tells you they still need offensive line and they can address that. And then my projected pick, J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama. When you go down to the Saints, and I think this is going to be obviously interesting because keep in mind at the point of this, mock draft being released, the only signing the Saints had made was Willie Gay in free agency, and then ultimately you get Nathan Peterman earlier today. So Field Yates at 14 for the Saints. He looks at it, says the free agency move that matters, not adding any offensive linemen. He goes to say the Saints have been quiet in free agency so far, and that, guard/tackle Andrus Peat is now a free agent. Talks about the restructured deal with Ramczyk and the long-term, outlook on his health with the knee, him missing the 5 games. What does that look like? The uncertain future with Trevor Penning. Goes through all the reasons why that doesn't matter. And as you might imagine, that's where he's going to go with the projected pick, right? His projected pick for the Saints, offensive tackle/guard out of Washington, Troy Fautanu. So in doing some digging here, I'll get to that in a minute. In doing some digging here, veteran player from Washington, obviously was a very good offensive line for the Huskies last season. They win the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in college. He started 28 games in 2022 and 2023 in Washington, and now will enter his name into the NFL draft. This is right where he's been projected and mocked by a lot of guys. It is right there in the middle of round number 1. But in doing some more research, reading some reports, all that today, the word that gets tossed around most with him is sleeper. He seems like somebody who's going to fly under the radar here. I mean, you're looking at a third-team All-American this past season in college by the AP, but first-team All-Pac-12. Like, he's got the skins on the wall, but he still just kind of flies under the radar a little bit, which sounds like a New Orleans Saints draft pick, if we're being honest, for the majority of the time. So I actually like that aspect, because for me, offensive line, specifically offensive tackle, is the biggest need for the New Orleans Saints. We had Sean Fazand on yesterday. I asked him his biggest need. He said offensive tackle. I know Matt has sat here and told you offensive tackle. I'm no different. We talked about it one of the last times I filled in this chair for Matt. And one of the reasons I pointed to was obviously Ramczyk. I mean, I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. I'm excited that they're giving him the clean bill of health, that they're very optimistic that he's going to be an impact player for them again here in 2024. But as we've said all week, I mean, cartilage in his knee is not just going to stop deteriorating. So is he on borrowed time? Like, how much longer does Ryan Ramczyk have at that position? That's a fair question to ask. Andrus Peat was filled in admirably for you at left tackle. Yes, you still have James Hurst, but Trevor Penning, it has not worked out, and it looks like that could be a move inside for him now. I know they continually sit there and tell you over and over and over again, oh, this is a new year for him. He's going to have a healthy camp for the first time, full healthy offseason for the first time, and we still believe in him. He's just got to keep going. But the fact is, they haven't given him the opportunity to work through it. They just haven't. It wasn't going well. They pulled him and put Andrus Peat over there because they're trying to win now. They're not trying to actually really let somebody work through it and grow into a role. So, do you kick him inside? Sure. You need to draft an offensive tackle. And when you look at a guy like Tanu out of Washington, he's versatile, could play guard or tackle, so you like that. But the main reason you need to draft your franchise offensive tackle here is the depth of that position in this year's draft. You might not see a class like this one for a long, long time. You could have 8, 9, maybe even 10 offensive tackles taken here in the first round. Like, we've seen that many mocked so far in this pre-draft process. We've gone through it on air and counted it up. That's depth, where you can get value all throughout the first round. So when I see a guy like Fatano being called sleeper, that screams depth and depth throughout the first round. So for me, that has to be the move for the Saints. And I love seeing that as the move mocked to them here, and you're seeing it more and more and more just because of the uncertainty there. Sure, you need a little help at receiver, but maybe they go add Hunter Renfrow in free agency for that. Maybe you take a receiver in round 2 or in round 3. That's fine. You're committed to Derek Carr. He was hurt a lot last year. You have to protect him. You have to protect him, especially with Jameis Winston leaving in free agency. Now you're looking at Nathan Peterman and Jake Haener competing for that backup spot. You have to protect Derek Carr if you think he is your option. So go get him somebody you think can be a franchise left tackle. Maybe it's Fatanu from Washington. Maybe not. Maybe it's someone else. That's fine. But for me, go get him a franchise left tackle that can protect him. Just a quick note on the LSU guys. Here in this draft. So go up to the top 3 where y'all expect Jaden Daniels to fall. And I think that's just becoming more and more consistent, obviously. The free agency move that matters from Field Yates was signing Marcus Mariota, but he notes it's a 1-year deal, and he just serves as another potential bridge option for, as well as Sam Howell to a starter taking over, or a draft pick taking over as the starter if they need a little bit of time to, get familiar with the system. He listed Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins as the only 2 quarterbacks that could take quarterback-needy teams out of the market in the draft, and neither the Bears, Commanders, nor the Patriots got one of those guys. So they all expect to still take quarterback, and his projected pick for the Commanders is Jaden Daniels. He's been very consistent with that, having Williams, Daniels, and Drake May in that order, 1, 2, 3. And you're starting to see that more and more in mock drafts, where a little bit of a change does come is, and I say a little bit because you've seen Malik Neighbors in this spot before, but Field Yates has really had him at 5 to the Chargers. He did drop him to 6 here. Free agency move that matters for the Giants was Drew Lock being signed, and then the addition of 2 offensive linemen, a tackle and a guard, because they shored up their O-line. You have Drew Lock when Daniel Jones is still kind of coming back from the torn ACL. Can he fill in there? Fine, sure. And it opens the door there to get Malik Neighbors, who Field Yates calls, quote, the most explosive player in the class. That is extremely high praise. So Malik Neighbors, his projected pick to the Giants at number 6. It was only a 15 pick mini mock, so no Brian Thomas there, but LSU still well represented and still really in their spots where you've seen them really occupy throughout the entirety of the pre-draft process, and then has the Saints taking offensive tackle / guard Troy Fatanu out of Washington. We'll see what they do. Both the LSU guys and, of course, the New Orleans Saints. All right, let's grab a break here, halfway home on a Thursday edition of AFR. When we come back, we'll go around the SEC and give you the latest update with the new LSU arena. It has moved through the next step, and they just continue to chug along there as well. So we'll do that. We'll do that when we return here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. That's right. Darren James has launched a new group, LPT Realty, which will give so many expanded resources to you, the homeowner, as you're selling your home. Darren James will have increased access to communication and so many other resources to help sell your home for the highest dollar possible. So you're matching and marrying here the number one realtor in the state of Louisiana. Wall Street Journal lists the top 1% of realtors in America, and a new company that's growing at an exponential rate that's going to give you expanded resources. I want to also mention, if you are a realtor or are thinking about getting your realtor's license, you need to call Darren James and learn about LPT Realty. Their structure and how they're allowing the realtor to keep more commissions is something that could change your life. Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
IU Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com Or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hey, remember, if you own a commercial building, or if you have a building that has a flat or metal roof, and you have roof issues, call Hudco. I've mentioned it before, but Hudco has a silicone coating product. So it can be very expensive. I just, every time I pass by Industraplex in Baton Rouge, I look at all those buildings. They're like north, Tom Drive, north of Airline, north of Florida, all those industrial buildings with the flat roofs, metal roofs. It can be very expensive to replace those. That's why Hudco has this silicone coating product. It's roughly half the cost of a roof replacement, and it comes with a 20-year warranty. Like, what are you going to be doing in 20 years? Are you going to still own that building in 20 years? It's a great option. It's Hudco Roofing. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. From commercial to residential, repairs and replacements, it's Hudco Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com.
Back here on Thursday edition of AFR, Musso filling in for Moscona. Moscona's up in NYC at a sports media summit. So we've been keeping you on the tracks, keeping you company here, 3 to 6 from from Tuesday through the rest of the week. So, just about a little more than halfway home here. We missed it. In the first hour of the show, we were talking to Biko Skalla of the Savannah Bananas. So we had to move around the SEC, and we will go ahead and do that right now.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vanderbilt has parted ways with head basketball coach Jerry Stackhouse following the 2023-2024 hoops season. That news came first from John Rothstein over there at CBS Sports, tweeted it Thursday afternoon. Stackhouse finished 70-92 over 5 years in Nashville. Opened this season. He opened... This season they finished 13th in the SEC, making it 4 out of 5 in the double-digit tournaments, and they were 9-23, the worst record of the Jerry Stackhouse era. So they will look for a new head coach over there in Nashville.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
From a firing to an extension, South Carolina's Lamont Paris, they have agreed to a contract extension, $4 million in salary. The contract will run through 2030. It's been a great year. Gamecocks went 11-21 in his first season in charge, but they have improved to 25-6 overall. Finished tied for second place in the SEC with a 13-5 record, and they just dispatched of Eric Musselman's Arkansas Razorbacks in the SEC tournament after receiving the single bye. So Lamont Paris, South Carolina, he is locked up through 2030.
The Florida Gators.
Another extension. Todd Golden and the Gators agree to a 2-year contract extension. Terms of that deal not fully disclosed. That report comes to you, though, from the Associated Press, and it is likely to include a raise. It is pending approval from the UF Compensation Committee. The extension will keep Golden at Florida, likewise, through the 2030 season. Led a turnaround after a trying first year, just like Lamont Paris, 16-17, 9-9 in conference. This year, Florida 21-10 and 11-7 in the SEC, so they lock up Todd Golden through 2030.
The Auburn Tigers.
And some good news on the Plains, on the recruiting trail. 4-star offensive tackle Tavares Dice commits to Auburn. Out of Georgia, 6'6", 275 pounds. Shows the Tigers over Florida, Georgia, LSU, and Tennessee. 241 overall prospect, number 22 offensive tackle in the 2025 cycle. He joins the Auburn class that holds numerous commitments, including 4-star cornerback Devin Williams and 4-star edge Caleb Faulk. That class ranks number 10 nationally and 5th in the SEC. That is around the SEC here on a Thursday. So obviously yesterday was a important, wait a minute. I didn't go the way I wanted it to. What are we doing? Oh, the internet. Sometimes y'all, technology, it just lets you down when you least expect it, and really when you least need it. All right, let's see if we can make this thing work here. All right, here we go. So obviously everyone's been talking a lot about the proposal for a new arena at LSU to house the basketball teams, as well as other sporting events, but then the entertainment aspect, getting great live concert acts and things of that nature to Baton Rouge as well. I know it was last week, Kelly Zinn joined Matt here and gave us all the details of it, and yesterday was going to be a key day in it where it went up to vote in front of the Metro Council for a new ordinance that would help them move forward and be able to, formally, start requesting the request for proposal and whatnot. So you had that vote yesterday. It passed overwhelmingly. 10-1-1 was the vote. It was a 2-hour discussion. And what comes of it is LSU can obviously move forward now with that arena. And the River Center will have a restriction placed on its live music and entertainment events to 3,500 attendees for the next 30 years, because LSU is hoping, a developer has this project and they'll lease it for 30 years, and then the university will take it over after that. For what it's worth, the other stuff at the River Center, like hockey, like the Zydeco, those will have a separate attendance cap on it to 8,500, and then the River Center Theater has no exemption. There's 1,999 seats, which we really couldn't put one more seat in there. That's ridiculous. 1,999, that seems a bit unnecessary. And then the exhibition hall, they're exempt. And that makes a lot of sense when you consider the other part of this ordinance, where it's not only that LSU can move forward, you restrict the restriction cap on events there at the River Center, but the River Center Arena will be redeveloped to cater to conventions, and a new hotel attached to the property will be constructed. That's right in line with everything that Kelly Zinn told us on AFR last week. So makes a lot of sense that you wouldn't put an exemption on a theater and, the exhibition hall. You're going to need the exhibition hall for conventions and things like that. It's a great move. This is going to be positive for the city of Baton Rouge for years to come, hopefully. For what it's worth, the arena, new on-campus arena, $350 to $400 million in cost and up to 13,000 seats. That's great. It's just what you want. And what it's going to do for the state, the immediacy even in construction is incredible. Cody Worsham from LSU tweeted this out last night, just the impact that this arena will have. A new arena on LSU's campus in construction alone supports $654 million in East Baton Rouge economy through 2029. Additionally, you're looking at 4,300 full-time jobs, north of 300 million in new labor income, around close to 19 million in tax revenue, over 11 million in state taxes, over 7 million in local taxes. And then you add that's before you start booking acts and everything to come here that will boost economy for Baton Rouge. It seems like just a very awesome, epic thing to do that we don't see very often. I mean, and you still had people vote against it here. Like you had one guy not vote at all, and then one other person vote against it. And I'm not going to at all sit here and tell you I know anything about politics. I actually hate politics. I do sports for a reason. I'll leave that to the guys on Talk 107.3 and anywhere else that they want to talk about that. It's not my cup of tea. But I can't for the life of me see how anyone could think this is a bad thing for the city of Baton Rouge and obviously for its flagship, or for the state's flagship university. So it's moving forward. That's the update. I think everyone expected this to pass with flying colors, and it did. And now they'll look to seek out a developer, and they'll pick the best proposal, and hopefully they'll get this done. I mean, it's interesting, Cody. Put the $654 million in the economy through 2029. That gives you a little bit more of a track of when they want to have this construction completed and ready to go. So it's still a ways away, but it's really, really exciting to think about that this is on the horizon for LSU and has passed the latest hurdle in its way, and now they can go forward. So look forward to it when it's finished, man. It's going to be awesome. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll wrap up hour number 2 here on AFR with Tigers in the Pros. Robbie Faulk still to come in the next hour. Give us a preview of LSU and Mississippi State in baseball from Dudy Noble. That series gets underway on Friday, so we'll do that in the next hour. But stay here. More to come here on Thursday's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all 8s. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G Team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here on a Thursday edition of AFR, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we creep ever so closer to opening day in Major League Baseball. Next week, the Major League Baseball regular season gets underway, so spring training winding down. But the Cubs did find some mound time for Cam Sanders today in their game against the Oakland A's. Sanders, 2/3 of an inning, perfect shutout ball, no hits, and didn't allow a base runner. ERA 1.69 in the spring, man. He's barreling towards another great season, and hopefully this is the year he finally goes ahead and gets that call up with the Chicago Cubs. Michael Papierski inserted into the game late for the Seattle Mariners today. Been having a really nice spring in his little bit of a reserve role. Did go 0 for 1, but found his way on base as well in the game and came around to score a run, hitting .467 in the spring. Like we said, he's put together a really, really nice campaign there. Alex Lang, some mound time today for the Detroit Tigers. Had a really great year for them last year. Settled in and carved out a nice role at the back end of the bullpen. One shutout inning today for Lang, no hits, did walk a batter, didn't strike out anybody as he puts the finishing touches on what was hopefully another great year for him up there in Detroit. Brooklyn Nets last night, Cam Thomas, leading scorer for the Brooklyn Nets, 21 points, came off a 9 of 19 shooting. Really solid night, 8 rebounds, so a near double-double there for Cam, and 4 assists kind of round out his night. Trendon Watford off the bench there for Brooklyn. Only played the 2 minutes, but made the most of them. Went 3 for 3 in those 2 minutes, so 6 points and a rebound to go along with the 6 points for Trendon Watford. Players Championship, Ponte Vedra Beach on the PGA Tour. Always a great week. Always a great weekend there. A couple former Tigers in the field. Let's start with Sam Burns. Burns tied for 90th currently after his first round. Shot 1 over par. Rough day. Started out on the back nine. Started out 2 over through 4. Eagled to get it back to even, but from there on, it was just a mixed roller coaster there. 3 bogeys. 3 bogeys and 2 birdies the rest of the way to get to that 1 over total. Ben Taylor, likewise, shot 1 over par today. Much less of a roller coaster than Sam Burns, but same position, 73 and tied for 90th. Went out in 1 over, came in even par. Did Taylor, so that's how he arrived there. Both of them still hanging on, but they're going to have to do some work if they want to stick around for the weekend. Your leader there in the players is Xander Schauffele and Rory McIlroy at 7 under par. So LSU guys really need to turn it up if they want to hang around for the weekend down there at TPC Sawgrass. All right, that is Tigers in the Pros here on a Thursday. We're going to grab a break here as we put a button on hour number 2. Come back on the other side after some Sports Center with national headlines and really pick up the LSU baseball talk. Where do the Tigers stand now through the pre-conference as they head into the 30-game gauntlet that is the Southeastern Conference play, and they will start that in Starkville. We'll get a preview. We'll get a preview as well with Robbie Faulk on the on the Bulldogs as well. All right, stick around. Hour number 3 is straight ahead here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, look no further than South Point Volkswagen, or should I say at least put Volkswagen on your list. If you've never driven a Volkswagen, never thought about a Volkswagen, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. That's the highest safety designation you can get. And you drive knowing you have the security of one of the safest vehicles on the road. They're so fun to drive. The great German engineering without the cost of other luxury brands. And they're built right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you're supporting American jobs as well. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer on Airline just north of Highland, online at southpointvw.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
IU Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bitcoin trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hour number 3 of AFR staring you straight in the face. We're going to crank up the LSU baseball talk, head to Starkville, chat with Robbie Faulk, get a preview of this weekend's series with the Bulldogs and the Atlanta Falcons in hot water with the NFL. We'll tell you about that right after the national headlines on SportsCenter.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NFL is reviewing if the Falcons or Eagles violated tampering policies before landing their big free agents this week. The Falcons got quarterback Kirk Cousins. The Eagles got running back Saquon Barkley shortly after teams were allowed to start negotiating directly with free agents. The Lions will sign defensive lineman DJ Reader. It's a 2-year deal worth $27 million. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports defensive lineman Eric Armstead will sign a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Jaguars. At the ACC tournament quarterfinals today in Washington, D.C.
Miller tries to answer. Barely got to the front of the iron. Cadeau will race with the rebound into the front court. Back to Davis. Another one. Yes.
West Durham on ESPN Radio. North Carolina hammers Florida State 92-67. Davis with 18 points to lead the way. Coverage of the ACC tournament continues at 6:30 Eastern on other ESPN radio outlets. Elsewhere today in the Mountain West, Utah State goes overtime to beat Fresno State 87-75.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour number 3 of AFR here on a Thursday. Musso in for Moscona. Grant Lanero and Paul O'Neill along for the ride. Glad you are as well. Drive you home here. Final hour of the show and plenty to get to. Robbie Faulk from On3 Sports covers Mississippi State, also the co-host of the Thunder and Lightning podcast. He will be with us here in the next segment to talk LSU-Mississippi State in baseball this weekend at the Dude. Otter Locks, of course, to wrap up the show in its normal spot. We got conference tournament action in college basketball going haywire. We'll have Otter with his best plays for tonight's action to close out a Thursday edition of AFR. What I wanted to do right here is kind of set up our interview in a sense with Robbie Faulk. So wanted to really hone in on LSU baseball, but take the look at it from the vantage point of where LSU stands going into conference play. Because what starts on Friday is what you prepare the whole year for. The 30-game gauntlet, the 30-game grind, whatever you want to call it, that is SEC baseball. And the league, we say this every year, but the league honestly looks stronger than ever. I mean, Mississippi State got off to a really rough start. Then they rattled off 9 wins in a row, started playing better. They had that snapped against South Alabama in the midweek, but then walked off UNO last night. So, I mean, they look different than they did the first 2 weeks of the season. They look a little bit more formidable than they did the first 2 weeks of the season. So where does LSU stand heading into conference play? And did this exercise on Musso at the Box. Get subscribed up if you haven't, your favorite podcast app, and also the YouTube channel. Very much appreciated. And the answer is right where I thought they would be. I would hope it's right where all of you thought they would be. Hasn't this gone pretty much according to plan so far for LSU in 2024? I mean, we knew they were deep on the mound. We knew they were talented on the mound. We knew that pitching should be the strength of this team, not only early in the season, but throughout. And so far, That's proven to be true. You've seen 19 different arms throw for LSU, and it's resulted in over 230 strikeouts already and a sub-3 team ERA. They've been awesome. 3 shutouts. Like, they've been really, really good. Your starting pitching has been incredible. Incredible. All 4 of them. Like, throw Cade Anderson into that mix too. And yeah, you're going to see him on the weekend now in a bullpen role as well. But absolutely, through the first month and some change of this season, throw him into that mix. They've been just insane. I mean, you're looking at just your weekend guys against Xavier, not giving up an earned run all weekend in 3 starts, and all 3 of them went more than 5 or more innings. Punched out 30 or 29. They have been dominant, which is the complete contrast from what you saw from LSU last year in the regular season outside of Paul Skeens in the starting rotation. And that was, the depth was one thing that led you to believe they were going to be so, dominant on the mound this year, but what you had in starting pitching was the other thing, and that has just come to complete fruition, and that's going to give you an advantage over plenty teams going forward, having 3 dominant starters and then being able to bring your 4th dominant starter out of the bullpen on the weekend. So you feel great there. The offense is where you look and you go, okay, I think we all thought it'd take a little while to get going. We all knew it wouldn't be last year because look what you lost. And you're rarely going to be able to replicate something like that. But what I really want to look at, because I'll tell you, do I feel great about where LSU is offensively headed into conference play? No, I don't. Flat out, honestly, no, I don't. But I don't feel awful about it either. So I'll tell you kind of where I'm at. I look at this lineup that LSU has had constructed, and they've sent out multiple variations of it. But when you look at it through a month and some change, and you look at where they are, I think you feel really, really good about the top 5 that you can send out there right now. Like, you feel great, obviously, about Stephen Milam, right? I know I do. And he sat out the second North Dakota State game just to get the rest he needed after tweaking a knee. And Jay Johnson, after the game, said he was, good to go, full go, ready to go for state, no problem. You feel good about guy hitting 368? I do. Okay, switch hitter, you can put him at the top of the order. I think that's probably where he slots in Friday night in leadoff. I've really liked Tommy White in that 2-hole the last couple of days. And y'all, I'll tell you right now, you look at Tommy's numbers, you see 12 RBI, a 310 average, and I think if I told all of y'all that preseason, you'd wonder what's wrong. Did he miss time? Like, what's going on? And that goes into replacing things in the lineup. We talked about that plenty. It was going to be hard for Tommy to replicate the numbers he had last year because he's not hitting behind the same guys he was last year. And surrounding him properly, protecting him properly, was going to be key for this offense to take off. Well, having him in the 2-hole makes that a little bit easier as well. You're going to have to really pitch to him there. And I think Tommy White is getting set to break out. I really do. He took some really good at-bats against North Dakota State in the midweek and got robbed over and over and over again with extra base hits. Like, to the point where you saw him, you could read his lips, and he was dumbfounded. We'll keep it PG. He was dumbfounded with how some of the balls weren't falling in. I mean, he smokes a ball to the center field wall. It gets caught. He got robbed in the gap twice, both left center and right center. He hit at least 4 balls over 100 miles per hour in those 2 games. Tommy's seen it. And when they start falling in, he's going to break out. Like, it's coming. Mark that down. It's coming. So you obviously feel great about that. Brady Neal's been awesome so far in the pre-conference. He's your second leading hitter. He's slugging 700. Like, he's been great. That guy's going to be in the lineup, whether it's at catcher, whether they catch Travinsky and have him DH, or whether they stick him in right field again like they did in the midweek. I don't think they're going to do that in conference play to start, but who knows? But that guy's got to be in there. You can have him 3-hole, 4-hole, doesn't matter. Pick where you want him. I feel comfortable with him being behind Tommy White right now because of how hot he is. Same goes with Hayden Travinsky. Travinsky's been one of your more consistent hitters all season as well. 4-hole, 3-hole, put him wherever. Then there's Jared Jones. He's leading your team in home runs, second on your team in RBI, hitting a tick below 300. Has turned in some really nice at-bats. Had a few struggles as well, but the sheer power threat that guy is, you surround him in a way around Tommy White too. Have him 5-hole. I like that a lot. So I like the top 5 that you can have in this lineup right now. It's everything else that just has to continue falling into place for them. 6 through 9. And look, I thought Mac Bingham took great strides in the final game against Xavier and in the midweek against North Dakota State. He had 4 hits in those 2 games against North Dakota State, and it's got his average back up to 300. He left the yard again. That's what you need. You have a guy like Mac Bingham in 6 through 9 in this lineup. That's how you lengthen it. That's how you lengthen it. And you'll wait for Paxton Kling to come around. And he will. It's just, he's going through it right now. I mean, there's no way to really go, there's no other way around that. And when you look back at last season for him, it didn't necessarily go as planned. Like, Paxton Kling was your opening day right fielder and leadoff hitter. They expected him to contribute a lot on that team last year. And he hit the skids right as conference play started, went into a slump, and then got injured. And you just didn't get the amount of ABs that you probably thought he would have had as a freshman. So he's still coming into his own there. And really, this 2, 3, 4 game stretch he's on has really been what's tanked his average. He had been pretty consistent throughout there and put together really nice at bats. So I think he'll get back on track, and that'll lengthen your lineup. And a guy like Josh Pearson, I just expect to be in there because of the trust factor. I just expect him to be in there because of the trust factor. So all those guys, Michael Braswell as well, has had some really nice moments. You just want to work on the consistency with those remaining 4 guys. And when you get that, that's when this lineup can really take off this year, because it's going to happen. But until then, they're in a great spot. They're right where I thought they should be. I'm sure they're right where many of you thought that they should be heading into conference play. They're an offense that has had some awesome moments, but they're still finding their way, and they're leaning on a dominant pitching staff, and they're fielding the ball great as well. And it's gotten you to 16-2. You're 1 game off your record from last year heading into conference play. That's a great place to be. So you should feel really good about LSU starting conference play. And they will do that against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And that's where we head next. We're going to Stark Vegas. Talk to Robbie Faulk. He covers the Mississippi State Bulldogs for On3 Sports and also co-hosts the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Great baseball guy. He will join us next here on AFR to talk all things Mississippi State baseball.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best kept.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, LSU. They've touched down in Starkville. They'll be at the Dude this weekend for 3 games against Mississippi State to kick off the SEC action this season in 2024. Robbie Faulk covers Mississippi State for On3, also co-hosts the Thunder and Lightning podcast. He's on Twitter at Robbie Faulk On3. Joins us now to preview Mississippi State. Robbie, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Do we have to talk baseball?
We do have to talk baseball. We do. Well, come on. That kind of gives me my answer to the first question I was going to ask about the temperature around the program. But, yeah, come on. It's baseball season, right?
I'm hoping to stay in Nashville for a few more days.
Okay.
I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, we already talked that game earlier today. I don't really want to go through that one again. But
last time I was on here with Matt, he talked to me about baseball last year, and we were talking about Chris Simonis, and basically, what did Mississippi State do well? Did they do anything well on the baseball team? And I do think we're getting there with it. I think we've seen some good things, some good progress with this baseball team, but it's still, I don't know if it's fixable at this point, but they are going to have to dive head first into the SEC. I mean, they're playing LSU, A&M, and Florida in 3 straight weeks.
Ooh. Yeah, man.
The only way it could get any tougher is if Arkansas was in the mix there.
You're not wrong. I was talking a little bit about it in the last segment, and I was like, it seems like we can say this every year, but it feels like the league is even stronger than it was prior, which is it's absurd. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this year's team, though, and I'll get to the rotation change and everything for this weekend momentarily. But State, they get off to the slow start, then they rattle off 9 in a row. What kind of changed for them there in the middle of the first couple of weeks of the season?
Well, I think they just started playing more consistent baseball. The pitching staff has gotten a lot better. You can definitely see a difference in that group under Justin Parker, the new pitching coach. And the defense is obviously better. at this point last year, I guess through 13 games, that's the last time I researched it. Through 13 games last year, they had 23 errors. They had 10 through 13 this year. And I think they've had one more in the last couple of games. But the defense is tremendously better. They've played cleaner defense, and they've thrown strikes. And they got just enough hitting during that stretch that they were really successful. So that, I mean, to me, that is the biggest thing is pitching and defense has improved tremendously. Now you're kind of struggling to hit the ball. So, you know, me and my podcast co-host, Brian Haydad, who's a friend of the show, I know, we always talk about the mark of a bad team or a team that's not extremely well coached is you fix one thing and you're bad at something else. They just haven't been able to. It's like, you know, on Vegas Vacation when Cousin Eddie's plugging holes with the gum and it just keeps popping open. Or I guess Clark did that. It just keeps popping open somewhere else. That's basically what we're getting right now in Mississippi State baseball.
So what is kind of the issue with the lineup? Because I mean, look, Dakota Jordan's been fantastic. I mean, he's one of the top hitters in the SEC so far, and he's had a great career, obviously too. But I mean, you look up and down the lineup. There's a lot of familiar names who were in there last year on a team that hit the ball fairly well. I mean, Hunter Hines is there, Armani Larry, Hyzak. So I mean, like, what has been the difference from last year to this year in the lineup sans Dakota Jordan?
I think what's hurting them right now is they haven't been able to get the production that they usually get out of Hunter Hines. And I can't tell you what the issue is. I think he might be pressing a little bit, but that was one of the best home run hitters in the SEC last year. Tremendous raw power from the left side. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't been there for him early. And like I said, probably pressing a little bit, but he only has one home run. And he just hit it last week. So that's been a big issue for them because right now, and LSU might do it some this weekend. They're going to be a little more confident as a pitching staff, I'm sure, than some of these other teams. But you can put Dakota Jordan on base. There's not a whole lot of protection around him right now. So teams are starting to intentionally walk Dakota, and it hasn't affected anything hardly because Hunter hasn't been able to make him pay. I do think eventually he will because it's hard to believe he's going to go through a whole season in this kind of slump. But right now, it's just not there for him, and hopefully he can find his way out of it. He's a junior, so he's played a lot of SEC baseball, and he's been really good in the SEC. So I'm interested to see how he does against SEC pitching.
Let's talk some more pitching in the rotations for this weekend. So obviously, there's a change there at the front. Evan Sierra is going to get the start instead of Nate Dome. Does that have anything to do with the word around maybe a little bit of an elbow problem there for Dome?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the injury is, but it was very concerning last week. Anytime you see a guy that's shaking his arm, usually you start to think about elbow. Yeah. And Chris Simonis doesn't really give us much of anything as far as injury updates are concerned, and I don't know the status of Nate Dome. He's been with the team and everything, but we don't really know what's going on with him right now. But like I said, I've seen that before. I've seen guys shaking their arm, trying to get feeling in their arm, and it's almost always a bad thing. But hopefully you get him back here soon because he was pitching really well on Friday night and kind of found himself there in that role coming from the bullpen to a Friday night starter. He's been really good. And State's rotation as a whole has been really good in every single game but one. So, that's a big hit to their pitching staff because you're putting in a guy in Evan Sierra who I think is really good, can throw strikes. I think you're going to see a drop-off there. And pitching against a guy like Luke Holman, you need a guy that's going to be able to go, punch for punch. And we'll just have to see what Evan Sierra can get him on Friday night.
What is the scouting report on Sierra? What can LSU expect to see from him?
Going to throw a lot of strikes. He stays in the zone. Got a decent fastball, low to mid-90s. Secondary stuff's okay. He's been hit or miss. He's not a guy that's going to walk a lot of batters. So like I said, he's going to be in the zone. It's just a matter of can Mississippi State make plays? Can he keep it in the yard? Because he does have a propensity of giving up big hits, but he's going to compete. He's going to throw strikes. LSU can't just sit there and take strikes, which I don't think they're going to do that anyways. It's a pretty aggressive offense. So I'm interested to see how he does against this lineup.
Talking with Robbie Faulk on 3 Sports, covers Mississippi State, also co-hosts Thunder and Lightning podcast. Robbie, one more on the rotation there. So is Jerangelo Sink just still doing the lefty-righty thing, or is he settled on one side this year?
He's still rolling along. And, he's been really solid in the first part of the schedule, which, I hold my breath on that because he gave up 1 earned run, I think, in non-conference play last year. But we've seen a little bit more confidence out of him. He looks a little different this year, even, playing the competition he has. And he's going to throw 96, 97 from the right side, 93, 94 from the left. I mean, it's just unusual stuff. He's kind of a one of one. I mean, there's just not a lot of guys that can do that. I thought they would move more towards, handling the right side, but he's been solid from the left too. I think you're going to see more righty stuff from him, but he will switch over to the left, and he's got his command's gotten better on that side. I think he's going to be pretty good at doing both.
He's fun to watch. I remember watching him at the box last year. The rest of that game was horrible, but he was a lot of fun to watch because you're right. It's one of one. It's not something that you normally see a guy switching his glove hand and throwing in the middle of the game. One more for you, Robbie. If Mississippi State is to start off the season with a series win at home, what does that look like for them?
Oof, I mean, they're going to have to find a hot streak at the plate, and they're going to have to pitch it extremely well. I don't know if you know this, but State has not beaten LSU in a home series in over 20 years.
Oh.
And it's really hard to believe because they've gone to Baton Rouge. They beat the national champs last year.
Yeah.
But they cannot beat them in Starkville. I don't know what it is, but they're going to have to play extremely well in the field. I mean, they're going to have to do all 3 phases really well, and this is a team that can really hurt you if you don't do that. And offense is going to have to heat up, and they're going to have to pitch it really well and keep it kind of low scoring and just get some big hits. I just don't know if this team's capable of doing it.
We'll start to get our answer on Friday at 6:00. Robbie Faulk giving us a preview of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, LSU's first opponent in Southeastern Conference play in baseball. Robbie, we appreciate the time. And look, man, I hope you get to stay in Nashville a few more days. Please beat Tennessee. That would be, I think most people would be okay with Bulldogs pulling that one off.
Well, I'm going to do my part. I will do what I can to make that happen.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for the time. We'll do it again soon.
Appreciate y'all. Talk to you later.
Absolutely. That is Robbie Faulk on 3 Sports, covering Mississippi State, and again, co-host of the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Great information. He's a great baseball guy, man. They obviously do great coverage of baseball over there in Starkville. It's important there, Matt. It's a lot like here. That is wild that LSU has gone there, and that makes me really nervous now that it's been over 20 years since Mississippi State has won a home series against LSU. I did not know that. I mean, I would have told you, if you would have asked me, I would have told you LSU's had plenty of success there. I can go back and think of plenty really good LSU teams that went in there and beat really good Mississippi State teams. I mean, Jay's first team went to Starkville after being swept, and it was a must-win series for them kind of at that point in the year, and they swept them. So, I remember that. The 2013 season always sticks out. There was an opener, SEC opener for LSU, and we all thought that 13 team was really good, but man, so was that 2013 Mississippi State team. They also ended up in Omaha, and LSU went there and took 2 out of 3 in that one. We could go on and on. What it reminds me of, now that he brought that up, and I'm aware that it's been 20 years. Like I said, I knew the success was good. 20 years. It reminds me of how Arkansas just could not beat Paul Maneri until, I think, Paul's last year, or maybe his last 2 years. Arkansas finally broke through and got his teams both times. But before that, through Maneri's first 13 years, they were 12-1 in series against Arkansas, and Arkansas always had good teams. Like the Arkansas team that dropped the foul ball in Omaha and cost themselves a national championship, 2018. That was an elite Arkansas team going up against mass unit of an LSU pitching staff in Baton Rouge, and LSU took 2 out of 3 in that series because it was just rally possum game. Arkansas found ways to lose against LSU. That's similar, where it's head scratching because they had so many good teams and so many good players, and they just couldn't get over that hump. That's really strange that Mississippi State kind of has that same thing, and especially at home because, the dude is an incredible atmosphere and a very tough place to play, and it will be rocking this weekend for LSU going in there. So that's where you also get the, the impact of all the road games that LSU played in the pre-conference this year, whether it was at Rice or at Southeastern or obviously in Houston. Being in that type of atmosphere, that's going to pay dividends this weekend for them in Starkville. Interesting, they'll have to face Evan Sierre. The one thing I can tell you about him is, you heard Robbie there say he throws a lot of strikes. Nothing's straight either. Like, everything moves. The fastball's got great run on it. You can get up to the low to mid-90s, and, everything he throws moves. So LSU's going to have to be patient. They're going to have to – he's a tough guy to square up. We will see. But you feel good with your starting rotation. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to spoil everything for tomorrow's show, but starting rotation gives LSU a big advantage in this series, and it will on a lot of different weekends in the SEC. All right. Appreciate Robbie for stopping by and dropping us some knowledge there on the Mississippi State Bulldogs baseball squad. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Switch gears back to the NFL. The league is investigating the Falcons. Are they going to be disciplined? What would that discipline potentially look like? We'll tell you a little bit about that when we come back, and also reset the day for the New Orleans Saints. Otterlocks to wrap the show up, so a couple of segments left. Stay here.
Mold Zero, now pure restoration. Same patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you got mold, think you might have mold, not sure if you have mold, mold can be in your walls. You don't even know about it. Pure restoration comes in. You don't have to worry about moving furniture, pulling up carpet, any of that sort of stuff. They come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Your home, office building, commercial building, whatever it may be, they're going to be more efficient than traditional remediation. It's going to cost you less as well. I love telling this story. There was an elderly woman who's a homeowner, had black mold on her ceiling, and she couldn't get a quote from anywhere that was less than $28,000. This was an elderly widow. Mold Zero came in, got rid of the mold for less than $5,000. Mold Zero is now pure restoration. Same company, same great patented non-toxic dry fog. They're general contractors, so they can do demolition and build back when you need it. They can take care of odor, sanitization. It's pure restoration. Pure-restoration.com. Pure-restoration.com.
That was my bad. Forgot we had to hit that floating live there. Shout out to Pure Restoration. Now we're going to hit a break. Come back. Tell you about how the Falcons tampered with Kirk Cousins, and then wrap the show up with Otterlocks. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where to find them, but make sure that you're checking them out online and on Facebook. This is one of the things that I always tell you. If you're wondering what they have, what the selection's like, what's new over at Clegg's, they do a great job every day when they get new shipments in of posting their new shipments that they get, so you know what they have, what their inventory is looking like at all the different stores. Now, I want to remind you of this. They have some great weed-killing products. So Musso isn't a big fan of this. Sorry, bro. I had to. Hey. But there are products that they have to treat your lawn now before your grass starts to regrow, to take care of weeds now. They got it at Clegg's Nursery. Ask about it. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
All right, back here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Musso filling in for Moscona. A couple segments left here on a Thursday edition of the show. The Atlanta Falcons, are they about to be in some hot water with the NFL? By now, I'm sure you've kind of seen this, and it involves the Philadelphia Eagles too. But we all know tampering in the NFL happens. We all know that it happens quite often. And the other thing we know about it is the league sometimes decides to take it really, really, really serious, and other times they don't. And that's why I think, for one, it runs as rampant as it does, because, I mean, you're not going to, have any type of real consequence for it. Well, who cares? But there's been a few instances where you have seen some penalties handed down. So if you're unfamiliar with the situation, obviously Kirk Cousins signs in free agency, or is expected to sign in free agency with the Atlanta Falcons. We know that $180 million deal, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. But in that quote-unquote legal tampering period, players are forbidden from having any direct contact with the team until the new league year starts. So that would have been for Eastern on Wednesday. And Kirk Cousins, when he had his introductory press conference Wednesday evening, slipped up and said that he talked to the head athletic trainer, met, and then called. He fixed it. He said, in a meeting, call with the head athletic trainer of the Atlanta Falcons, and he mentioned that on Tuesday, which would be indirect violation of that, but it goes deeper. If it was just that, the league probably wouldn't care. But why they've launched the investigation into Atlanta is because there are 4 different instances for them to investigate this. Number 1 is if the Falcons communicated with Cousins or his agent, Mike McCartney, before the legal tampering period, at the scouting combine, which they probably absolutely did, because that happens every year at the scouting combine. We hear about it all the time in the tampering investigation. So did they do that? Probably. I mean, yeah. Second, did Cousins or McCartney provide medical information to the Falcons before the start of the legal tampering period? Could have. He's coming off a pretty serious injury. Achilles. They're going to know what they're getting themselves into, right? I mean, it's going to have to go through a physical eventually, but you're going to try to get this done. He's your guy. You're going to try to get this done within that window before the Vikings have a chance to sign him back. Chances are you might do something like that. Third, did Kyle Pitts or other players actively recruit Kirk Cousins with the knowledge or at the direction of the team? Kyle Pitts denied that, actually, last week. But Kirk Cousins kind of also alluded to the fact that he did have contact with Kyle Pitts. And maybe the effort from Kyle Pitts to say no was to not draw attention. And then the fourth one is what we talked about, where he basically admitted to talking to Falcons, the head athletic trainer and other people in the organization before the new league year starts. So look, I don't know if there's anything that actually comes of this for Atlanta. And when you look at the tampering penalties, they're normally draft picks that get taken away. Like in 2016, Kansas City, that's a well-known example, right, of the NFL actually coming down on somebody, and they were docked a 3rd and 6th round pick. The franchise was fined $250,000. Andy Reid was fined $75,000, and the GM was fined $25,000. It's nothing outlandish. I mean, the outlandish one is the one that happened with Sean Payton and Tom Brady and the Miami Dolphins, where the Dolphins, Bruce Beal was banned from NFL league meetings, fined $500,000. The owner was suspended and fined over $1 million. They lost a 1st and a 4th. So, that's the far end, but it's never going to result in any lack of playing time or anything like that, which I guess, the league doesn't want to take its stars off the field, which I completely understand, but that might actually stop it from happening. If they were actually serious about stopping it from happening, is, okay, but that's going to be a 3-game suspension for the guy you tampered with. But they're never going to do that because, again, they don't want to take their stars off the field, and nor should they. So I totally understand. So we'll see. Maybe the Falcons lose a draft pick here or there. I don't know. If I had to guess, probably nothing comes of it, but thought it was interesting enough, mainly just because Kirk Cousins opened his mouth and dug the hole deeper. We went through the other 3 things. Maybe the NFL doesn't even look at it unless, until Kirk Cousins goes, I talked to the trainer on Tuesday. That's probably, the red flag, the buzzer, the sirens going off to them to go, oh, well, and there's this, and this. So we'll see what comes of it. Again, maybe they'll lose some draft picks and the organization will get fined, but Kirk Cousins will be out there week 1, and provided he's healthy, full, ready to go. And Atlanta's going to be an interesting team to watch. Obviously, this year in the NFC South, I think many people look at them as the favorite after adding Kirk Cousins. I'm going to get to Outer Locks here momentarily. Just a quick reset on the day for the New Orleans Saints. The big news was Nathan Peterman. Saints signed quarterback Nathan Peterman to come in and compete. That's the key thing. Come in and compete with Jake Haener for the backup job. We talked about that in the first segment of the show. Look, man, Peterman, we know what he is in the NFL. He's just hasn't been great. He's actually been quite bad, if we're being honest. But it's somebody to at least, with actual NFL game experience to come push Jake Haener, who the Saints have to be banking on winning this job. 4th-round pick invested in him, all the hype that, he got. They were really high on him in camp last year. All that. I mean, they have to be banking on him to win this job. If for nothing else, he's the better option because of the higher upside that he has other than Nathan Peterman. Again, after 6 years in the league, you know what Nathan Peterman is. He's going to be a career backup, and he is an average at best quarterback in the NFL, and I mean at best. So, a guy threw 5 or 6 interceptions in a game one time. That's what he's known for. That's not good. But he's still got game experience in the NFL and can come push Jake Haener. So for that reason, sure, I like it. And then Chase Young. We got official word. Chase Young's visit. Nick Underhill with the report on this earlier. Chase Young's visit with the Saints will be Friday in New Orleans. He visited with the Panthers yesterday. And then today, on Thursday, Carolina went and signed DJ Wonnum to come be their pass rusher to a 2-year deal. So it looks like the Panthers are out. The Titans, for what it's worth, were another team involved with Chase Young. They've signed a pass rusher as well. So the door is wide open for the New Orleans Saints to sign Chase Young if they want to do that. He will meet with them tomorrow. Maybe we will have news. If we do, we will have you covered with that right here on AFR tomorrow. And that would be the splashiest move so far for the New Orleans Saints in free agency if they're able to pull that off. And they certainly seem to be legitimate contenders to do so, especially with the other teams that were involved kind of dropping out of the race. So, or seemingly dropping out of the race with the Panthers and the Tennessee Titans. So we'll keep you up to date on that. It's been a busy week around the New Orleans Saints, as we all expected it to be, with the legal tampering period and them having to get on cap compliance and the start of the new league year and all of that. And it has delivered exactly like we thought it would. All right. We're going to grab a break. We're going to come back on the other side, close out a Thursday edition of AFR, find out what we're betting on tonight. Conference tournaments are running rampant in college basketball. Otter's going to have us covered with Otter Locks. That's next to close out Thursday's AFR. Don't move.
AFR.
Love telling you about Glow Resources. Complete employer solutions. That's Glow Resources. That's Jareth Knockan and all my friends over at Glow. I remind you all the time about Glow Resources. It's GLO, glowresources.com. If you're a business owner, remember, that's who Glow works for. They work for you, the business owner. And it's not just in Baton Rouge. It's Baton Rouge, Houston, Miami, New Orleans, Orlando, Ridgeland. They got resources, and they've got companies and locations all over. And they can place employees anywhere for your job in any industry. Maybe it's mechanical or heavy machinery. Even if you need professional employee solutions, if you need management solutions, they've got you covered there as well. It's Glow Resources. Listen, hiring has been tough for so many businesses since COVID. Stop guessing. Let professionals at Glow help with complete employer solutions. It's Glow Resources. Again, learn more online at glowresources.com.
Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Brought to you by Evermore, all natural, great tasting water. When you uncap a bottle of Evermore, that's the first time the product touches air. It's incredible. It's a natural well. It's natural artesian water. It's a well. It's on the North Shore. I went to their bottling facility. When you pull up on the left, you'll see the well is right there. They've drilled deep into the earth. They pipe it out right into their filters and their filtration system. Nothing is added. Nothing is extracted. It is completely pure from the earth water. So if you want a healthier option, if you want a healthier lifestyle, something healthier for your children, maybe you're an athlete that wants a superior form of hydration, Evermore, EVAMOR. If you notice, go to their website, you'll see Dak Prescott is one of their chief spokespeople. I mean, starting NFL quarterback is vouching for it. Check it out at great local retailers or order on their website at EVAMOR.com, Evermore.com, Evermore.com.
All right, let's wrap up hour number 3 and the show here today, AFR Thursday, with Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we welcome in the Ott Father, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are we today?
Doing good, Musso, over here at the Queen, man. Sweating these games out, man. Life is tough.
Somebody has to do it, Otter. It's a tough job,
right.
but somebody has to do it. That's why we send you over there.
Yeah, if you start your weekend early, working a half a day tomorrow, come on by and see us at the Queen. It's been a great run. But yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I think our friends Rufino's clearing space for us to get over here and get in the trenches for championship week. Looking at the ACC, first of all, Musso, you never know where one of these surprise runs will come, but I think I've got one in the ACC. Boston College won easily as a dog in their first game, and then routed Clemson yesterday by 20. And really, Clemson was never in the game, and Clemson's been really good away from home this year. So Boston College plus the 5.5 by the 6. And, of course, we know that Virginia has had their scoring issues as of late.
Yep.
Cincinnati, they took advantage of Kansas not sitting their best two players, and they win easily by 20. Not going to be the same against Baylor tonight. Going to lay the 7 with the Baylor Bears against Cincinnati in the Big 12 conference. This is not my pick, but, man, several of my guys in Las Vegas, Mountain West Conference has 5 teams in, according to Lenardi, in a 6th team, New Mexico in the bubble. And New Mexico is my guys that like Boise State minus the 1 in the Thomas and Mack Arena in the Mountain West Conference. And then I'm going with another big Duquesne in the Atlantic 10 plus 7 against a fading Dayton team that's priced a little overpriced at this point. And one NBA play tonight, the long road trip coming back home. They had one earlier this week where I think the Pacers had come back home against the Mavericks. But it was only a 4-game road trip. This is a 5-game road trip, and the Boston Celtics, number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, they'll be back home after a 5-game winning streak, including a win in Phoenix against the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns got the big 3 all healthy, ready to go.
1 minute remaining.
Have everybody playing tonight. We're going to go with the Suns in that one.
All right, Otter, so let's see here to recap. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns pick that you just gave us in the NBA. We also have Boston College plus 5.5, buy it to 6, so plus 6. Baylor minus the 7. And Duquesne, and then Boise State as a pick. Duquesne plus the 7 and Boise State as a pick. That's everything?
Thank you, Musso, for pronouncing that right. Charlie's been calling it Duquesne.
Hanny, leave Hanny alone, Otter. All right, y'all go see the guys at the Queen tomorrow. Otter, we appreciate it.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
You know that's my guy.
Absolutely. We appreciate it, Otter. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us here today. One more day in the week, Friday. We're going to talk plenty of LSU baseball, get some LSU football as well, and maybe the Saints have signed Chase Young. We'll see. Thank you to Grant. Thank you to Paul. It's been a blast. We'll see you tomorrow here on AFR.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you